Are you sure that you haven't made the biggest mistake? If it was an all Bach recital, I could understand it, but are we talking about Oliver here, or
Oliver Twist?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
When I sent you that email, Graham, what did you think when I said that we're going to do the entire works of Graham Twist on organ?
Yeah, I was thinking that you must be really scraping the barrel, Jeff. I can think of at least 1 billion composers who are more worthy of your talent and capability than little old me. But yeah, as I say, I'm still in drug therapy. I have to have heart massage when I finish reading the email. I'm definitely not, at least my oeuvre isn't so big that, I'm going to be in a recital for 3 hours. Because I think you've about seen most of the compositions that I've written so far.
Well, I got to say that the idea wasn't exactly mine. It was actually Jerry Martin who said, a lot of us have already played Graham's works. Let's think about playing them all in one go. And we were toying with the idea of getting Jerry, Vidas, me, Alex, everyone that's played yours to put it together. But I thought, it's probably hard to coordinate that right now. Let's just, Vidas and I have played all of them collectively together. So let's just keep it simple for now.
Yeah, well, I'm so honoured, and I hope you're both recovered from the experience.
I would love.
I can't imagine what you make of my music, really.
I would love to play a marathon of Graham's works, like all day long, 12 hours.
It would be like the Olymp from last year, cancelled till further notice.
We'll have to get Andre to play the piano ones.
Yeah, no, well, he has asked me to write something for him now that he's got his 2 manuals and pedal board. I don't know if you've had a chance. He's uploaded his first recording.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And he does have a Baroque pedal board. So I was thinking, whatever I'm writing, it mustn't go above sort of top C on the pedal board, otherwise there won't be enough note for it. And he doesn't have swell expression, and I'm writing a piece that's very much in the romantic mode with lots of swell expression. I shall be fascinated to see what he does with it, if and when I ever get it finished, because it's the most complicated I've been asked to do. And I'm really enjoying the challenge, but it stretches me because I can't keep reciting the same old circle of fifths leaders. That's my call, because if it doesn't have a circle of fifths in it, it's not twist.
Amazing. So, Graham, what are you composing right now?
Well, to be honest, I thought that Tim Knight had set up another competition. I on the spur of the minute entered for organ music for quiet moments with Idle. It just came to me, and I sent it off because it was in the middle of lockdown and I had nothing better to do. Don't tell my wife that, but I had nothing better to do than see what sort of came out the fingers. And then I was amazed when it was published. And then when I saw that there's another competition, which is organ music for joyous moments, a bit premature yet, since we haven't I'm waiting for my vaccination. I haven't had it yet. But I'm in the middle of putting that together. I've only got about 9 days to go. And I've got the last third of it written. I just can't quite get going with it. But the biggest work is the one for Andre, which is on the sufferings of Christ at the crucifixion, which, it sounds terrible, but as I'm letting it come out of me, it's so emotional that it actually makes me weep, and that's just with the wrong notes that I'm creating. And I'm writing something also again for Alex, because he wanted me to do something in a sort of Baroque style. I'm writing my Baroque pastiche, and I've got a few other little chorale preludes. But I'm not a real composer, as you know, so I can only go when inspiration seems to come my way. And I'll sit down and improvise, and if I think, oh, that's going somewhere, then I'll pursue it. But most of the time, it goes into the bin. It's not going anywhere at all. It's going somewhere. It's just a repeat of everything else the one thing that I've ever really written.
somebody wiser than me said I only create out of inspiration, and it happens to be at 9 a.m. every morning.
Yeah, I just wish I knew when my inspiration was coming. The last few days I've been quite productive for me, but I can go for a week, 10 days, and just don't feel anything at all. It does sort of come and go, and I wish I knew what it was. If it was in the diet or something I've had to drink. Probably need a lot more to drink to loosen up a bit. So we'll leave that one for another occasion.
So let's. I'm going to tell you what pieces we're doing, and perhaps just give us a quick overview of why you composed it. And yeah, so the first piece on the program is Impromptu Marcha de la Corona. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, that was inspired by lockdown. I was sat at my home digital organ and feeling, I'm sure as everyone does, frustrated in that the things I wanted to be doing that I normally did, I couldn't do. And the opening bars just sort of came from nowhere. And I thought, it had a bit of angle with it. And I wanted it to be sort of mischievous. So I looked to see how I could develop that. And out came, I thought I'd make my COVID-19 piece. And then I do struggle knowing what to call them because rubbish isn't quite the title you can attach to everything. So I thought, well, improvise, so it's an impromptu. And then it's in 4/4 time, like most of my music. So I thought I'll call it Marches of COVID. And so I saw that Corona in Italian worked well, so it's an antidote to COVID-19. I wish it was as good as the vaccine, but it hasn't killed any virus yet. It's probably killed those who listened to it or played it. But is it you playing that one, James?
Yeah, well, it's almost been a year since you composed it, so let's hope that this airing will actually end your lockdown over there.
That would be.
When the pandemic started, I thought how I can also ride the wave of Corona. So I improvised Corona Fantasy and put it on YouTube, and YouTube banned it.
Yeah, I thought that Paul Sayers uploaded an organ composition which was based on the genome code, which I thought was a really interesting and clever idea. I don't know if you caught one. I thought, if only I could be that inspired. But as it was, it's just my irritation with the COVID.
All right, so the next piece is the two chorale preludes on Down Ampney and East Acklam. So if you could just let us know about how those chorale preludes came about.
Yeah, the Down Ampney was the first ever composition that I tasted when I was 19. I left school on Christmas Eve afternoon. I received a phone call when I was 18, and it was the vicar of a local church who said that their organist had resigned because he was very ill, and they thought of anyone who could play. Would I go and play for midnight mass? So I did, and then on Christmas morning, after the service, said, "Will you become our organist and choir master?" Which at 18 was very flattering. And there was a very nice organ in the church. And as you know, James, with working with Thomas, when you're 18, you think you know it all and you do it all. So I agreed to become organist. And I was there during my university years and worked with the choir and played for services, the only 2 appointments I've ever had. And after we sung Come Down, O Love Divine, I went home because I've always loved Vaughan Williams' music, and the English hymnal is such a joy, with his own tunes and the arrangements of folk music that he turned into hymns. And I just sat down at the piano, and out came the right hand accompaniment. I popped the left hand melody with it, and a pedal line. And you've been playing, James, a bit of Flores recently, and I'm a big sort of fan. There's a sort of, hints at everything in my music. But that came together very quickly. I played it a few times during my tenure as a church organist, and people liked it. And I've still got the manuscript book that I put it in. I've obviously rewritten it now in with Sibelius software, but it was my first edition. And then East Saxon was a total surprise because of you, Jay, recording for me. Kyle Cromer from the USA got in touch with me and said, "Oh, would I please write something to commemorate or celebrate, others who's still with us, Dr. Francis Jackson's 3rd birthday, and would I do something with East Saxon?" So I said to him, "Well, Dr. Jackson's already written his own prelude on that hymn tune. I couldn't possibly do that. It would be sort of sacrilege." And Kyle said that he wasn't too on Dr. Jackson's writing. It wasn't quite sort of harmonious enough for him. It was a bit too modern. So I said, "Oh, I'll have a look at it." So I sat down at the organ, and out came the first page. I don't know where I played the hymn tune first, and out it came. And then when I looked at the hymn tune, it goes through some wonderful key changes, but so difficult to write around. So then it took me another 2 weeks to work out what to do with the rest of it. But I was quite pleased, and then I got in contact with Tim Knight and said, "Oh, would I be able to use this?" And he said, "Oh, Banks Music in York have the copyright on Dr. Jackson's prelude, but Dr. Jackson's has the copyright on the hymn tune, and that I wouldn't be able to upload it." And I said, "Well, I'm not looking to make money from that. I just got the tune." So I contacted Banks and sent them a recording and a copy of the score. And about 2 weeks later, I heard from them that Dr. Jackson himself thanked me very much for what I had created, and that as long as I didn't seek any commercial gain, didn't say I had to pay people to play, but as long as I wasn't looking to make anything from it, I could share. And so I was really quite pleased because it was created very quickly, and so I felt that I had been inspired by him. I met him when I was a student at school. He came and gave an organ recital, and I turned pages for him, which was a mesmerizing experience because he was the consummate performer, a gentleman at the organ console, no flamboyance, just immaculate playing. So I was really honored that he allowed me to go public with his wonderful tune.
It's a very beautiful chorale prelude. I was going to say, with you down Anthony, I really like playing it, but geez, when the tune comes in, I just almost fall apart because of all the the chords in the right hand. They're quite big, and no, it's the very and actually I think it's like the second part anyway, but you'll see when I play it. And the last piece on my program is the Idyll, and you've already talked about Idyll because I think I was the one who sent you about that competition with Tim Knight for that quiet moment. Anyway, that's Idyll has become quite popular on YouTube. A lot of probably your most recorded track on YouTube, Idyll.
And amazing because I often think, and I've had conversations, and Vidas could really tell us what he thinks here, that you think of the great composers who were had package, who wrote because people paid them money to do so. I have this romantic notion that you only create worthwhile music when it's inspired. Because you look at Bach and think, whether he's being paid or not, he created that amazing music. So I was just moved to enter competition. It wasn't as if the people that existed otherwise. So thank you for it. And then I nearly totally blew it, I think, as you knew, James, because you said you were cocky, and you surprised me by playing it before Tim Knight had announced who the finalists were for his album. And he sent me a strong email saying, what was going on? Why was this music being played?
Because Tim's actually on my Patreon as well, so it didn't go public. It just went to a little group of people, so we kept that quiet after that.
I thought that was it. I thought I was out of the running. jump the final hurdle, and then I wasn't going to get to the finishing line.
Yeah, we had, so Idil's so popular and there's so many renditions of it that in the recital I've done something quite different with the registration. So when you do hear it, I hope you you appreciate my different take on it.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Tuba.
What I love about you, James, is your such a tease, because, you know, when I've seen, say, on Hosta's performance of the Lang tuba tune, when you said you prefer it pittimo. So I'm assuming that Idil is going to be a, you know, 4-pittimo with at least tuba solo.
Well, I still haven't I still haven't made a video where I play like the Bach Liebste Jesu on the Rotterdam Chamades, for example, as the solo. I'm sure that would be very popular.
Yeah, if JSP had ever got to play an organ like that, I bet he'd have used the Chamades for every time.
All right, well, I'll hand you over to Vidas, who will ask you about, well, he'll tell you the pieces he's playing, and then you can tell us about how you came across them.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much, James. I can't wait to hear how you, I mean, I was going to say slaughtered, how you perform them. It'll be wonderful.
Yes, the first piece that I played was trumpet tune. So I chose this very interesting tuba stop from the Alessandria sample set. Very interesting, very powerful. I liked it so much. So Graham, could you share with us the backstory? How did you come up with this idea?
I'm so pleased that you're using that sample set. I mean, I think Roboski's thing is the best that I've heard, really. I mean, just amazing. And that organ is a great favorite now, having heard lots of people use it. So I'm very honored that you're using that sample set. But just to make James blush, I dedicated that trumpet tune to James, because without James, it wouldn't exist. I'm very late in life with social media, and after I'd written Impromptu della Corona, I was searching through YouTube organ performers and came across James and made contact. And I saw on the site that he would take commissions to record. And I wanted it playing on something better than my own digital organ. And I commissioned James to record it for me and was thrilled with it. But afterwards, I wanted to give James something as a token of my appreciation and admiration for what he's done. And so that trumpet tune just came to me. I knew that James had a penchant for trumpets and tubas, and I wrote it quite quickly, and I'm sure James won't mind me saying I sort of sent it to him, and he was in a very busy time doing qualifications, and he's so active on social media that I think I sent it at the wrong point in his life, because it was just another bit of overload, and I think he thought I was just looking for him to, you know, to play it for me. But he has made a recording of it, and I did dedicate it to him, and it wouldn't exist without him. When I sent the recording to my organ teacher from my school days, he said that it sounded very familiar, couldn't quite put his finger on, but it rather plodded along in terms of the accompaniment. So I thought that I shouldn't have called it trumpet tune, I should have called it plodding along. So I'm looking forward to hearing you plodding along.
So now that you've dedicated that to me, you'll have to dedicate a tuba tune to Vidas now.
Plodding along #2.
Yeah, plodding along.
I'd love to write to you, Vidas, but I'm in awe of your improvisations and your own buzzing abilities. So I would hesitate. But you and I had some very interesting discussions, and you're the only person I've ever engaged in debate with. I just can't win. You are always able to beat any argument I put to you as to why I'm such a useless composer. So I'm saving something. When that inspiration comes, it'll be more than a tuba tune for you, mate. But I will write something for you. So hold on.
Don't even try debating. Just write. And something will come out.
Yeah.
Something worthy. Wonderful. Really, I enjoyed playing this piece a lot. I played this piece on Salisbury Cathedral sample set, I think, earlier, or maybe it was a different sample set, but not as powerful as tuba on Alessandria. I did remember it was a trumpet, maybe Rotterdam. So it was nice, but not as powerful. Um, so I really was amazed. Although Alessandria did give me some headaches in Hauptwerk 6, there is some problems with this with a couple of sample sets. Not it's not sample sets fault, but entire software's fault, which will be fixed in the next upgrades, they say.
No,
So
I envy you both your Harper setup, but yeah, I'm so useless with technology that I when I was investigating what to do for a home organ, I thought I'm just going to have to find one where you press the on switch and play, because I just wouldn't be able to do all the configuring that you seem to end up doing. But I do envy you the wonderful sounds that it makes. It keeps tempting me, but I would be useless with it. I'd have it all in front of me and it just wouldn't work, and I'd have to scream.
and I'll tell you, it's your fault. It's your fault, Graham, that I have Hauptwerk 6. Remember, you donated, and I upgraded from Hauptwerk 5 to Hauptwerk 6. So thank you so much. And I hope they will fix the problems.
I'm still on 5 and I'm not going to move.
Yeah, it works fine. Why move? All right. So after the trumpet tune, we move to the introduction and Passacaglia. Oh, that was like a piece which sounded a little bit like Reinberger or Bach, or both of them combined with a special twist in it, right? How it came about?
Yeah, you've nailed it in one. I bought this Viscount Quorum digital organ, and I thought, all right, I need to do something. Well, the person who introduced me to the wonderful world of the organ, Michael, who was my organ teacher from when I was 15 at school, he used to take me to recitals in London, and he'd build manual pipe organ in the loft of his house. He just opened up the world of the organ to me, and it's been the most important thing for me musically in my life, and I wanted to do something to honor Michael. And I remember at school listening, and he was a very good amateur organist, to him playing the Rheinberger and being totally blown away by that. So I thought, right, I've got an organ now, I've no excuse, I haven't really this down yet. I'm going to write in an introduction of Passacaglia in homage to Rheinberger, but for Michael. So the introduction came along, and I had my pedal theme, not quite a circular fit, and I just started. And some of those movements are mine, and most of them, of course, are reworking from the Rheinberger, which I'm happy to acknowledge. They're the ones that I can play best, and they're the ones that I like the most. And of course, there's a little nod to the great D minor Passacaglia. Boy, I wish I could play it all. I can play some of it, but it's an incredibly challenging piece. So two of his variations managed to work their way into my Passacaglia. And I sent it to Michael after I'd finished, and he was very honoured to receive it. But rather like trumpet tune, I don't think he was terribly impressed with my attempt at composition, although he's very gracious about it. I think, like lots of composers who return to their work to improve it, that maybe I need to revisit that and see what I can do. But after Down Apnea, that is the most serious piece of writing I've tried, even though a lot of it was heavily prose from two organists who definitely knew how to compose.
Graham, I think you are responsible for my reigniting the love of Reinberger in general. I never played Reinberger before, but I'm very curious to start playing some of his sonatas and other works.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do. I love that German Romantic school, and you know, I'm sure you'll find it very rewarding. When I started learning the organ, I had a book called The Progressive Organist, Book 4. So there were some Reinberger pieces in there that I enjoyed playing when I was 15 and 16. And I do, as James does, I do play the introduction and Patricalia, not as well as you, James, but I do give it a go. But yeah, so I'm glad if I've done that. I look forward to hearing you play some Reinberger.
I must say,
yes,
I gave Vidas all the difficult works to play.
Next time
I'm
we
sorry.
switch.
Yeah, we'll switch next time. I was like, oh, I've played these before. You can have the hard ones.
This morning I told James an idea. What if we started transposing your works into every key? We could play 11 more recitals.
Yeah, and in mean tone temperament, so it would sound really
and with different sample sets, starting with the green positive.
Yeah, you can play the manuals only version of Idyll.
Yeah, so I wrote that for Andre. That was a challenge, but I enjoyed the challenge of turning that into a piano prelude. I don't know what you thought. When I sent it to Michael, to listen to it, said that he much preferred the piano version to the organ version. And he said he wept when he listened to the organ version, not because it was so awful, but he thought it was just, you know, the sort of music that he liked. But which do you think works best, piano or organ?
I think they both hold their own. They stand on their own.
That's the answer. I'll stick with that.
and I played both. I played the piano one in recital not long ago.
No, I've heard that. Yeah.
Now that I have Piano Tech software, I can also play piano works.
Yeah, you can play the prelude. No, we can do the complete piano works of Twist now.
On the harpsichord.
Do you know what? The complete piano works of Twist sounds just like the complete piano works of organ.
Wonderful. So I conclude my part of the recital with, of course, with the toccata Giocosa. And this is a very exciting piece, right? It's sort of joyful, and I wonder where this joy comes from, Graham.
Yeah, when I found my manuscript book with Down Apnea in it and brought that to life again after, I don't know, 50 years of being abandoned. On the page, there were about 5 odd bars, and on the top it said toccata. And I thought, oh yeah, I remember that when I was this parish organist coming across. Oh, I thought I just lost you then. Am I still with you?
Yeah, it's okay.
You're still here. Yeah.
I came across, as I say, the score, and I listened to the toccata in 7, and clearly that had inspired me. And so there were about 6 or 7 bars, the opening bars that exist now. And then I thought, oh, this is too hard. I abandoned it. So when I come across Alex Stratianos and made contact with him and was so impressed, I said, would you like me to try and write something for you? So he said he'd be flattered if I. So I said, well, I haven't got anything fresh in mind, but I found a toccata that I started when I was 19. Would you like me to see if I can do something with that for you? So I continued to develop the main idea, But what was new in the lockdown was the B section, which sort of, I have to say, it sounds a little arrogant, doesn't it? But really quite pleased me because I love cabaret organ. If I could play one before I die, I'd be in heaven. But I just love the voicing of the reeds and the flute. The flute harmonique is my favourite stop. And on this bike, I've got a French section where I can use the flute harmonique. And that middle section sort of came into existence and was playful. In fact, Alex sent me an email that there's a sort of run 2/3 of the way through, and he said, "What key is this in?" I said, "It's in every key imaginable. It's just a run of it." That I quite fancied on the flute harmonique. And then, of course, it's easy, isn't it? ABA. I just had to repeat the A section and come up with a conclusion. So I dedicated it to Alex. He made the first recording of it. And since then, it's had a few more. And I have to tell you, Vidas, I was so excited to hear it on the Salisbury sample set. And you performed it so wonderfully. So is it going to be on the Alexandria this time?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it, because you need that sort of acoustic to back up the acoustic. This is the piece, really. But I remember when you first sort of recorded it, you said that you quite like that rocking sort of dance rhythm. And the middle section, I will be honest and say that it was partly inspired because I have a sister who's older than me. She lives in America, and she's been diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had some pretty aggressive medical treatment and was able to say that she's now in remission with that. And I was so relieved that middle section really sort of came about with the feeling of relief that I had. So it's a response to her, it's a response to Alex, and it's a response to, when you're 63 like me, you think, isn't this wonderful, and isn't the organ wonderful? And since I've never been able to play the D-door, James, as well as you, I thought, I'd like to come back and actually play myself. So the Carthage Yoko was born.
I've heard so many people play it now that I'm getting the fear of missing out. So I actually printed it out today to just look at it every now and then, because Vidas has played it, Jerry's played it, Richard McVeigh's played it, and Richard, I know Rich. This is a message for Richard. He played two of your pieces.
50 requests for it since Richard played it. It's only American organist. So I'm still riding high on that one.
Well, Richard, we're actually going to play the entire organ reps at Graham Twist. There's an idea you could do that too.
I'm surprised that James hasn't played the toccata yet. I thought he played it.
It's too hard for me.
Oh, I heard you play the Dubois, which partly inspired it, and certainly heard you play the Vidor, and mine is very much easier. There are pages of semi-quest. The only thing I regret is that I think when I tried to squeeze it into just 9 pages, is that the print's a bit small. I have noticed that some of the chords seem to, especially in the middle section, they seem to have made it difficult for some people's performances. So, but I don't know about you. I watched both of you. I hate turning pages when I'm playing. So I wanted to try and reduce as much as I could, but it does make reading it difficult, which is a very good excuse for putting in notes that I haven't quite written.
Yeah, I always reduce my scores and put them into a big folder. I think it's a common thing amongst organists in the UK as well. Like Daniel Cook, you see his scores, he reduces them so he can manage page turns on his own. And I haven't got Elstra here, so she can't turn my pages. I got to do it all myself, and I leave a handful of notes out too, so that helps.
Yeah, people like me, Jeff, that our other half just leave us to it. Vidas doesn't know how lucky he is that his wife is also a very accomplished organist, and she's willing to turn pages. And hopefully she rules the roost at home, Vidas, I hope.
I have to Get her also to play your pieces in the future.
Yes, get her to play it. Yes.
Yeah.
Graham had to. You did mention Tom briefly there at the beginning of our conversation. Actually, I did mention to him that we were going to have a call and say, "Oh, I want to join the call as well. I'll come over." I'm like, "No, we'll have another call because this is about the organ works. When we talk about the piano stuff, we'll have another Zoom meeting." But yeah.
Well, I say to you, James, and I'm sure Vidas will probably know, but I think you know what you're doing to help Tom on his way is just fabulous. As I said, I can remember a long time ago being 18, and I know 18-year-olds can be a little bit taxing at times, but he has a huge amount of potential. I love his arrangements, and you know that the Pink Panther piano performance and the list I think is quite a force. By the way, have you had your piano competition yet? That's still coming in the next few weeks.
Okay.
For the trophy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll probably have to wrap it up because I'll have to edit all this in. But thank you for joining us on the call. I'll probably have to.
Graham, I have one more question about the introduction in Passacaglia. Remember the theme of the Passacaglia? How did you come up with the idea of 9 measures, 9 bars, not 8?
Yeah, you know, I have to be honest, Peter, to say what's there is accidental. That's just what came into my head and at the time. It's got some unusual intervals in it, you know, which are sort of that romantic feel that I like in music, and that was just the way it was created. I was amazed that I'm actually able to build anything around it. After I tried my own first two, and then I was looking at the Rheinberger. It accommodated so generously, and I was thinking, I wonder if you can do that with everyone. Passacaglia, you know, because I was a rage at Passacaglia, and I don't know if you've heard Richard McVeigh do the Willen. And I've heard you, James, with the Pachelbel. I do think it's a very interesting organ form, but it does seem that you can mix actions, and so it was no trouble at all to steal from Bach and Rheinberger.
Now we have to squeeze in one extra bar into Bach's Passacaglia too.
I did say we were going to...
Yeah, I was just going to say again, I know you're wrapping up. I can't tell you how thrilled I am that you're willing to do this, but the biggest pleasure of all has been able to talk to you and Vidas, because you know I am your biggest fan. You won't have abandoned me. You really won't.
We really appreciate your comments.
Graham. Yeah, keep creating, and as long as you keep creating, we will keep playing.
Thank you.
Yes.